Molokai, often called the Friendly Island, is an island in the Hawaiian archipelago. It is 38 by 10 miles in size at its extreme length and width, with a usable land area of 260 square miles, making it the 5th largest of the main Hawaiian Islands and the 27th largest island in the United States. It lies east of Oʻahu across the 25-mile wide Kaiwi Channel and north of Lānaʻi, separated from it by the Kalohi Channel. The island has been known both for developments by Molokai Ranch on much of the island, for pineapple production, cattle ranching and tourism. Residency visitors to the west end of Molokai can see the lights of Honolulu on Oʻahu at night. They can view nearby Lānaʻi and Maui from anywhere along the south shore of the island. In Kalohi County, on the Kalaupapa Peninsula on the north coast, settlements were established in 1866 for quarantine treatment of persons with leprosy. These operated until 1969. The Kalaupapa National Historical Park now preserves this entire county and area. Geography. Molokai developed from two distinct shield volcanoes known as East Molokai and the much smaller West Molokai. The highest point is Kalohi on East Molokai at 4,970 feet. Today, East Molokai volcano, like the Kaiwi Range on Oʻahu, is what remains of the southern half of the original mountain. The northern half suffered a catastrophic collapse about 1.5 million years ago and now lies as a debris field scattered northward across the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. What remains of the volcano on the island include the highest sea cliffs in the world. The south shore of Molokai boasts the longest fringing reef in the U.S. and its holdings, nearly 25 miles long. Molokai is part of the state of Hawaii and located in Maui County, except for the Kalaupapa Peninsula, which is separately administered as Kalohi County. Maui County encompasses Maui, Lānaʻi, and Kaiwi in addition to Molokai. The largest town on the island is Molokaʻi, which is one of two small ports on the island. Molokai Airport is located on West Molokai. The United States Census Bureau divides the island into three census tracts: Census Tract 317 and Census Tract 318 of Maui County, Hawaii, and Census Tract 319 of Kalohi County, Hawaii. The total 2010 census population of these was 7,345, living on a land area of 260.02 square miles. Molokai is separated from Oʻahu on the west by the Kaiwi Channel, from Maui on the southeast by the Low Channel, and from Lānaʻi on the south by the Kalohi Channel. Ecology. Molokai is split into two main geographical areas. The low western half is very dry and the soil is heavily denuded due to poor land management practices, which allowed overgrazing by goats. It lacks significant ground cover and virtually the entire section is covered in non-native kiwi trees. One of the few natural areas remaining almost intact are the coastal dunes of Mumomi, which are part of a nature conservancy preserve. The eastern half of the island is a high plateau rising up to an elevation of 4,900 feet on Molokai Peak and includes the 2,774 acres Molokai Forest Reserve. The eastern half is covered with lush wet forests that get more than 300 in of rain per year. The high-elevation forests are populated by native ohia lefua trees and an extremely diverse endemic flora and fauna in the understory. Much of the summit area is protected by the Nature Conservancy's Molokai and Pelekunu Valley preserves. Below 4,000 feet, heat. The vegetation is dominated by exotic flora, including strawberry, guava, eucalyptus, and cypress. Introduced axis deer and feral pigs roam native forests, destroying native plants, expanding exotic plants through disturbance and distribution of the seeds, and threatening endemic insects. Near the summit of Kamakaʻu is the unique Pepe'opai bog, where dwarf ohia and other plants cover the soggy ground. Molokaʻi is home to a great number of endemic plant and animal species. However, many of its species, including the Olomoro, Kakawehi, and the Molokai Oʻahu, have become extinct. Molokaʻi is home to a wingless fly among many other endemic insects. History. Molokai was believed to be first settled around AD 650 by indigenous peoples, most likely from the Marquesas Islands. However, a 2010 study using revised, high-precision radiocarbon dating based on more reliable samples has established that the period of Eastern Polynesian colonization of the Marquesas Islands took place much later, in a shorter time frame of 2 waves, the earliest in the Society Islands c. 1025 to 1120, 4 centuries later than previously assumed. Then after 70 to 265 years, dispersal continued in one major pulse to all remaining islands c. 1190 to 1290. Later migrants likely came from Tahiti and other South Pacific islands, although Captain James Cook recorded sighting Molokai in 1778. The first European sailor to visit the island was Captain George Dixon of the British Royal Navy in 1786. The first significant European influence came in 1832 when a Protestant mission was established at Kalua'aha on the east end of the island by Reverend Harvey Hitchcock. In the late 1800s, King Kamehameha V built a vacation home in Kanakaka and ordered the planting of over 1,000 coconut trees in Kapuraiwa Coconut Grove. Leper colony. Leprosy was among Eurasian diseases introduced to the Hawaiian Islands by traders, sailors, workers and others who lived in societies where these diseases were endemic. Because of the islanders' lack of immunity to the new diseases, they suffered high rates of infection and death from smallpox, cholera and whooping cough, as well as leprosy. Sugar planters were worried about the effects on the labor force and pressured the government to take action to control the spread of leprosy. The legislature passed a Control Act requiring quarantine of people with leprosy. The government established Kalorau, located on the isolated Kalaupapa Peninsula on the northern side of Molokai, followed by Kalaupapa as the sites of a leper colony that operated from 1866 to 1969. Because Kalaupapa had a better climate and sea access, it developed as the main community. A research hospital was developed at Kalorau. The population of these settlements reached a peak of 1,100 shortly after the turn of the 20th century. In total over the decades, more than 8,500 men, women and children living throughout the Hawaiian Islands and diagnosed with leprosy were exiled to the colony by the Hawaiian government and legally declared dead. This public health measure was continued after the kingdom became U.S. territory. Patients were not allowed to leave the settlement nor have visitors and had to live out their days here. In the 21st century, there are no persons on the island with active cases of leprosy, which has been controlled through medication. But some former patients chose to continue to live in the settlement after its official closure. Father Damien de Veuster, a Belgian priest of the Congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, served as a missionary for 16 years in the communities of sufferers of leprosy. Mother Mary Ann Cope of the Sisters of St. Francis of Syracuse, New York, brought 6 of her sisters to work in Hawaii with leprosy sufferers in the late 19th century, also serving on Molokai. Both Father Damien and Mother Marianne have been canonized as saints by the Roman Catholic Church for their charitable work and devotion to sufferers of leprosy. Economy. Beginning in 1897, much of the western end of the island was purchased from Hawaiians by Molokai Ranch to operate a cattle ranch. From 1923 to 1985, they leased thousands of acres of the land to pineapple producers, and the pineapple industry thrived on the island, continuing to attract Japanese and Filipino immigrants as low-paid laborers. Since the late 20th century, the pineapple industry has suffered across Hawaii. Over the years, the ranch company has also acted as a developer, establishing hotels and related amenities for resort tourists on the property. In 2007, community residents organized in the Save Lānaʻi Point movement to oppose Molokai Ranch's attempt to expand its resort operation. As a result, on March 24, 2008, Molokai Ranch, then the island's largest employer, decided to shut down all resort operations, including hotels, movie theater, restaurants, and golf course, and dismiss 120 workers. Because of its rural agricultural nature, Molokai has Hawaii's highest unemployment rate. 1/3 of its residents use food stamps. As of 2014, the largest industry on the island is seed production for Monsanto and mycogen seeds, including GMO seeds. Tourism. Although tourism is not as large an industry on Molokai as on some of the other islands in Hawaii, Molokai has on average about 1,000 visitors on any given day. For years, residents of Molokai have resisted private developers' attempts to dramatically increase tourism. Accommodations are limited. As 2014, only one hotel was open on the island. Most tourists find lodgings at rental condos and houses. National Geographic Traveler magazine and the National Geographic Center for Sustainable Destinations conduct annual destination scorecard surveys, aided by George Washington University. In 2007, a panel of 522 experts in sustainable tourism and destination stewardship reviewed 111 selected human-inhabited islands and archipelagos around the world. Molokai ranked 10th among the 111 destination locales. The survey cited Molokai's pristine, breathtaking tropical landscape, environmental stewardship, rich and deep Hawaiian traditions, and visit-friendly culture. The neighbor islands of Hawaii, Kauai, Maui, and Oʻahu ranked 50, 61, 81, and 104, respectively. Molokai is believed to be the birthplace of the hula. The annual Molokai Hula Pico Festival is held on this island. Molokai can be reached by plane or by ferry. Planes fly into Molokai daily from other Hawaiian islands including Oʻahu, Maui, and Hawaii on Mokulele Airlines, Makani Air, Paragon Air, and Hawaiian Airlines. A ferry leaves twice daily between Molokai and Lahaina Harbor, Maui. Infrastructure. Healthcare. The island of Molokai is served by Molokai General Hospital, which operates 24/7. Education. The island public school system includes 4 elementary schools, 1 middle school and 1 high school. There is also a community college. The island has 1 private middle school. Highways. The island can be traversed by a single land highway running east to west. Highway 470 is a spur up to the barrier mountains of Kalorao County and the Kalaupapa Peninsula. By land, this area can only be reached by mule and hiking trails. Most access to the Kalaupapa Peninsula is by sea. Parks. The island contains many parks and other protected areas, including Lānaʻi State Park, Kilauea Beach Park, Kakaha National Wildlife Refuge, Molokai Forest Reserve, Pelekunu Preserve, George Murphy Beach Park, Halawa Beach Park, and Oʻahu Beach Park in the portion within Maui County. Today Kalorao County is preserved by the Kalaupapa National Historical Park. Notable people: Mother Mary Ann Cope, 19th century nun and saint; Father Damien de Veuster, 19th century Catholic priest and saint; Joseph Dutton, Catholic missionary who worked with Father Damien; Harvey Rexford Hitchcock, Protestant missionary; Peter Johnson Gulick, Protestant missionary; Linda Lingle, 6th Governor of Hawaii; William Ragsdale, popular Hawaiian attorney and politician who served as superintendent at Kalaupapa for 4 years; Scott D. Whiting, president and CEO of Molokai Ranch; Rudolph Wilhelm Meyer, politician and agricultural businessman in Hawaii; Lois Ann Yamanaka, poet and novelist; Harvey Rexford Hitchcock, Jr., 1913 college football All-America team; Melvin Lead, singer; Keith Lu'uloa, professional baseball player; Royalty Nuikia, High Chiefess of Molokai; Hualani, High Chiefess of Molokai in 9th century; Keoloewa Kamawa 2nd Aliamoku of Molokai; Kapawan Uikia, 3rd Aliamoku of Molokai; Kamali Wahine, 4th Aliamoku of Molokai; Kanipahu, High Chief of Molokai in the 11th century; Kamauawa, High Chief of Molokai in the 11th or 13th century; Kaupipi Nui Kauila, Prince of Molokai in the 12th century; Kahokuowa, High Chief of Molokai in the 15th century; Kalanapehu, High Chief of Molokai in the 17th century; Kanialai, High Chiefess and Queen Regent of Molokai in the 18th century. Towns and villages: Hulefua, Kalaupapa, Kalorao, Kanakakai, Gualapu, Moanalo,